G'day folks, it's Jimmy again with another video, another one of these music advice, industry tips and pitfalls, how to avoid them, all that sort of stuff things. So let's get into today's one right now. All right, hope everyone's having a good day, good week, good month, whatever it is. Today we're going to talk about gigs for bands. Got some ideas and advice and tips on gigs. Now, as I've always say, you know, this is just my opinion. I'm not the be all and end all and Mr. Knowledgeable of this industry, but I've learnt a lot and I like to try and help out and give some tips. So, your opinion may differ, and that's fine. Put your opinion in the comments below, subscribe if you can, and let's get a conversation going. So gigs, all right. My opinion on gigs. Number one, don't play too many gigs in your hometown or area. I see and have seen over the years so many bands that play week after week after week. And it may work for a while, and especially it's actually really useful when you're starting out to play a fair bit, because it gets your stage legs, gets your experience up, and your what's the word I'm looking for? Camaraderie, if you like, between band members, you know, synchronicity and all that sort of stuff. Learning what each other does on stage and all that. And that can be a good thing, performance-wise. But if you're playing the same set to the same people in the same venues week after week after week, ultimately, people are going to tire of it, okay? Band members will tire of it. The audience will tire of it. Your friends and family aren't going to come to every single gig you do. They may come to the first few when you're starting out, but ultimately they will drop off. And that's where you need fans of the band, okay, to be coming. So if you're playing week after week, same venue, same set, same everything, your attendances will drop. Venues will stop booking you. People will start talking behind your backs saying that your band is not a crowd puller. And it's going to affect your gig opportunities. So you need to be careful how much you play, how often and where you play. You need to be playing interstate and in major regional centres. And you need to be playing overseas, but when you are ready and not before. And I'll get to that later on in these videos. In my opinion, and again, just my opinion, 1 gig per month maximum in your home area. Okay, so if you're a Melbourne band, for example, 1 gig per month in Melbourne at the local venues, you know, in the city or out in the suburbs. And obviously, wherever you live in the world, really, 1 gig per month. If you're in the position of being a headline band, then I reckon 1 gig every 3 months in your home area. If you've got an established crowd for your gigs in your home area, then maximize their attendance at your gigs by not playing all the time. All right? Make them wait for your gigs, but keep them engaged. Don't go silent. You've got to keep your audience engaged with your social media presence. You've got to concentrate on building your audience online, interstate, overseas, and in regional areas instead. Okay, so if you're not playing gigs, that doesn't mean you go dead quiet and don't update your social media stuff and don't engage with your fans. If you're not playing, then that is the time, especially to be engaging with your fans on social media, okay, and online with your online presence. So yeah, that's kind of my tip for that. I think I've found with other bands that has worked. You may have heaps of people come to your gigs and that's great, but you don't want to be playing the same set and the same show in the same venues week after week because they will get bored. Okay, that's what happens. So think about that. Now, interstate and regional gigs are very important, in my opinion. Ultimately, if you want your band to be successful, you have to tour. Now, that doesn't mean overseas, although the ultimate aim, I think, of most Australian bands especially, is to get overseas because there's more opportunities over there than what there are here in Australia, I'm talking. If you're watching this from overseas, then I'm not quite sure, but in Australia, there's limited stuff, limited opportunities. So you must tour. It's a no-brainer. You need to build your audience outside of your home area, okay? You can't just have all these people following you in your hometown and then you go play somewhere else and you get 3 people rock up, okay? That might happen the first couple of times you play interstate or in regional centres, but the more you build yourself up in those areas, hopefully the more people are going to come and see you when you play. And going interstate and regional, it also gets you playing regularly, okay? Still keeps you on stage, still helps you with your performances and all that sort of stuff. And it's taking you away from, playing to the same people all the time in the same area. So look online, okay? This is a tip for getting gigs with other bands interstate and in regional centres. Look online, find other bands in the area where you want to play that you think you'd fit on a bill with. Contact that band. If they've got management, contact their management. Introduce yourself and your band. Send them your EPK, your electronic press kit, which I spoke about in one of the other videos. This is where that comes in. Because you're contacting a band interstate or in regional centre and they probably don't know who the hell you are in many cases. Well, they might have heard your name but not really know much about you. So that's where your EPK can come in and be handy. Send them the EPK, the music, obviously, videos of your performances. Give them some dates of when you want to come to their area and be flexible with your dates. If the band you contact can't and you want to play with can't do a particular date, then work around them, okay? Because ultimately you're going to be playing to their crowd, okay? So you've got to work with the band you want to play with. So work around their dates. Change your dates if you need to fit in with them. Or if it's not going to work, then ask them to recommend you some other bands in the area that you want to play at to contact and get in touch with and try to work with them. Once you've booked your gig, contact that area's radio stations and free press. Get your music out to them and your EPK. Send posters to the venue where you are playing. Ask them to put the posters up. Get on your social media and get it updated to show where you're playing. As much promotion as you can possibly do. Target the area you're playing at in your social media. Team up with other bands on the bill and do joint promo. There's so many things you can do when you're touring and playing in an area where people don't know who you are. Okay, you've got to interact with the band, other bands that you're playing on the gig with, and do some joint promo. And that also, can make it cheaper as well if there's 3 or 4 bands on the bill and everyone's putting in some funds to promo. So at the end of it all, I think it's very important not to play too many gigs. Play interstate and regional. I know it all, when we're working, we've got to organise time off and holidays, and if you've, got girlfriends or boyfriends and family and all that sort of stuff, you've got to fit it all in around them, and it's really hard. But if you use your brains and think about it properly and plan it, you can work it out and it can come out quite well. So be careful how many gigs you play. Try to maximise your online exposure when you're not playing. Don't go quiet, okay? I can't stress that enough. If your band's not playing gigs, that doesn't mean you switch everything off and then just come back when you're ready to play. You don't want to overdo it on the social media side of things. There's a very fine line between pushing yourself too much to people and just keeping people informed of what you're doing. There's a very fine line and you've got to find that and balance it. But when you're not playing gigs, videos, live videos, good quality audio, all that sort of stuff, promotion, okay? Don't play every week. You don't need to. But if you do want to play every week, then mix it up. Go and play on the other side of town. Go play interstate, go play regional. Keep yourselves going that way rather than turning up at the same venue week after week or fortnight after fortnight, playing the same set, doing the same thing. People get bored, okay? Think about that. That's today's tip. Please subscribe. Please add your comments below. Let's start a discussion for people, for young bands, up-and-coming bands, old bands, whatever. I've got more of these videos coming, so hope you enjoyed this one. Let people know if you like what I'm talking about, and see you soon. Cheers.